So John, we're back after 3 or 4 weeks. I think you've had a lot of stuff going on, and then I've had stuff going on. But we're back.
We are back.
That's what's important.
Yeah, well, we've got there's important news that we have to talk to people about. We have to talk about first and foremost about PSVR 2.
Mm-hmm.
I know you have thoughts, and I have thoughts. What's your take on the $550 PSVR 2?
Do you know what? Beyond anything else, and I know that this is what VR stuff sort of costs, and I kind of expected it, but seeing it, they're actually telling me that's how much it is. I'm like, there is just no world I'm going to be able to justify this for myself anytime soon.
No, I'm kind of the same way. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, and I think about the original PSVR, which I did eventually get, and I kind of regretted it. Really, I mean. There were some fun games. There were a few things. There was that game where you're pretending to be you're a robot and you're at work. I forget what it was called.
Yeah, I know the one. I know the one you're on about.
Yeah, there's that one, and Fruit Ninja was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the games felt like demos, and they were really short.
Yeah,
not that great, and it was $400 back then. That original one, and I'm looking at this one. I have to spend some more time looking at the games. But until there's I wouldn't even think about it until there were some really attractive games, and I haven't seen anything that has really caught my eye.
No, and this has been my problem, even with the first one, because you can, if you look around, you could pick up a second-hand PSVR for, what I would say reasonable money, like maybe I've seen them sort of £100, £150 or something, maybe with a couple of games. And even at that price, I look at it and I'm like, okay. So I'd play, Astrobot, whatever the Astrobot game is. That really interests me. And I think there's like an Iron Man game, and as you say, your Fruit Ninja, stuff like that. But there wasn't like a killer game that's like, oh no, you have to play this. Like I feel like Astrobot was probably the closest to that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pay that much money for what is essentially a controller to play like one game or a couple of games. And I know there's some people that get really, really excited about VR and they think it's like the future of gaming and all of this kind of stuff. I just don't see it. I think VR it does have a lot of applications, like even outside of gaming, but like, and you can do interesting experiences, but I just don't think you're ever going to see like VR sort of have this critical mass where there's like incredible AAA games coming out like every week or every 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem, is especially if this thing is $550, it's, I think I read there have been 25 million PS5s sold. You got to imagine that this accessory, which costs more than a PS5 itself, is going to be a small fraction of that market, of that 25 million market. And for game developers, unless they're really being subsidized by Sony, is it worth it to them to really make full-on games? Like Horizon Zero Dawn has a mode or a section or whatever coming out, which would be interesting, but it's not like a full-on separate game or anything. And that's kind of what I mean. It's like a lot of them feel like tech demos or preview, sneak peek type of releases, and not really full on games. Absolutely.
I mean, I've used I used the original PSVR at a friend's house, and he had like the steering wheel with all the force feedback and all of this stuff. And it was really fun, and it was a more interesting experience than just playing it. If you're just staring at a TV screen, because you move your head and you can look around and stuff like that.
Right.
But it doesn't. I mean, firstly, I wouldn't sit down and use VR for say 8 hours. If I was having a big day of playing games, I'm maybe going to use it for like 1 or 2 hours at a time. Like it's just too much. Like you've got the controllers and you've got the headset and the whole thing. It really just doesn't do it for me. And as you say, it costs more than the PlayStation. It's like, I understand why it costs that much, because all of this stuff is still sort of new and it's very advanced and stuff like that.
Right.
as you say, 25 million PS5s or whatever it is, they're not going to get even close to a decent percentage of that to make it worthwhile for non-Sony studios to develop decent games with it.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, I think, all that said, the hardware does sound really nice. I think the headset has like a higher resolution than even like the Quest 2. You are tethered to your PS5, which I guess is a downside, but there's reasons for that. I mean, there's practical reasons for that. But, I think it's just going to be, I think a $550 VR headset going into what is, difficult economic times in a lot of countries is going to be a really tough sell.
Yeah, definitely. PlayStation have announced something that's a much easier sell for
What's that?
A lot of people, and this is a set of God of War field notebooks.
I didn't realize that they have this, huh?
Yeah, I didn't. It was only because I saw somebody tweeting about it today that I'd even heard about it. So this is a set of. I'm looking at the PlayStation website. I'm like, I don't know how to get to this. PlayStation Gear. If I click this, okay. It's just okay. It's locked up my browser, so I'll just describe it to you.
Oh, I just did a search for it.
Yeah, so this is it's a set of, what is it, like 8? I think it's 8 field notebooks.
Yeah, it looks like 9 actually.
9. That would be the 9 realms of the. This is a little bit closer. This is like $50. I can afford this. I'm not sure I'm going to, because I've had field notes before and I just tend to not use them. But these are really nice.
This is pretty neat. I mean, I used to go, Field Notes was based in Chicago, or they still are. And I would go to their shop every now and then because it was like, like a 15-minute walk from where I worked. And they always had really cool stuff in there that you could buy. And this is like big time that they're working with Sony.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know they've done some sort of co-branded stuff before, but usually it's just them selling it. Like, this is like PlayStation Twitter account was tweeting about this, and like you can buy this worldwide on their store. I mean, this is huge for them.
Yeah, I mean, because they're usually, I mean, Field Notes has always been kind of a niche thing, more of a hipster thing. This is very main, mixing with a very mainstream brand and a mainstream game, and they look really nice. I like them. I don't think I was once into the Field Notes, and I have far too many Field Notes books that I will probably never write in because I just don't write with a pen anymore. But it does come in handy to have them once in a while. I give them to my kids, or I throw one in a backpack when I'm traveling and stuff like that. But I kind of gave up that habit. I even subscribed for a little while because you can subscribe to their various releases, and people get really into collecting them because there can be some really some of them are actually very valuable if they were limited edition type things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I had to laugh because this is sort of Field Notes sort of crossover quite well with the sort of things we're into.
Oh yeah.
I think the Venn diagram of those people is basically a circle. It's like basically just two circles on top of each other. But when I initially Googled for this, the first article I found was like a mainstream, gaming website. And the headline was something like, Sony wants you to pay $50 for some graph paper. And it was a very strange, because clearly, Field Notes are very popular, but they're not what I would call a mainstream product. I'm not sure I would meet people in my life that would know what they are.
Right.
So it was kind of funny to see the mainstream press just being like, yeah, there's these weird little notebooks with God of War on, and I'm sure they'll sell loads of them anyway.
Oh, I think they will. I think they will. Yeah, I actually was at their offices for a live taping of The Pen Addict one time when the Relay folks were in town, and Federico was there too. It was when the Release Notes conference was in Chicago. It was the last year they did the conference, and we all hung out at their offices and the Pen Addict got taped, so that was kind of fun. But Yeah, it's they have a really neat hipster, kind of office on the west side of the Loop in Chicago, and really neat place. These look like cool little notebooks. Are you excited about that game?
Do you know why I'm not? Because I never finished the first one. I started it, and my initial reaction was, "This is way too difficult," because it definitely has a sort of, I mean, there's no guns, but like the enemies are bullet sponges, basically.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So I sort of came back to it a few weeks later, I think, and I turned the difficulty right down because I thought, I just want to enjoy this game. And I just found like there was so much to do that I just sort of felt overwhelmed by it all, and I just never really finished it.
All right. Yeah, I actually just started it last weekend, and I liked it a lot. Although I only played through to like, I guess it was the second boss when the guy comes and visits your house, and you have no idea why he's there. It's like, oh, this guy's super hard to kill.
Yeah. Yeah, that I remember that specifically being like,
it was really hard
the first time I played it, and I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, I'm a dude with an axe, I should be able to kill this guy.
Yeah, it's really hard. But it's a gorgeous game. It looks really good, and it's very nice on the PS5. I started playing it because we've had it, my kids have played it, and I hadn't played it before, and the new game's coming, and I wanted to see if I thought I would like the new game. I don't have the time to really go through the first one and then do the second one too. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. Plus, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is coming out in just, I don't know, 2.5 weeks, something like that. But and that's really what I want to play more than anything else. So I don't know what I'm going to do with Ragnarok. I think I'll probably play it, but I wouldn't be surprised if I don't finish it. Or maybe I save it for later in the winter or something.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to God of War at some point. I mean, I had the same thing happen to me with The Last of Us the first time I ever tried to play that. I think I tried to start that 2 or 3 times, and it just, whether I wasn't in the mood or like it just didn't, or whatever. But then, like, when I did get into it, like, I loved it. I pretty much sat there for 2 days straight playing it. So I can totally, because God of War seems like the kind of game that I would like.
Right.
Yeah, it's on my list. It's just not going down in price right now.
Right, the remaster.
Yeah, the remaster of the game. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've been meaning to play it too, and I haven't done so either. I'm just kind of getting to that point of the year where I can find the time to do all that. But it's as the macOS review is out at Mac Stories, I don't have that on my plate anymore. And once I'm caught up with all the stuff I put off, I should be in good shape for the winter to play some games, but not quite there yet.
No. So we got the one other little weird sort of story that you sent me. I couldn't see the article you sent me because I was like, I think it's because I'm in the EU or something.
No, it's here too. It's behind the San Francisco Chronicle paywall.
Oh, okay. But I did find another article because I couldn't work out what this startup was. But they've come up with some ink that disappears after like 15 or 18 months or something for tattoos, which is very strange. But are you able to see like that whole article that you sent me, or is it sort of just locked completely?
It's mostly locked. I thought it was funny because the premise of the story, at least the summary of it, was that this startup came up with this temporary ink that's supposed to go away. So, you're not like full on committing to a tattoo, but turns out not so much. It actually is permanent, and people are complaining because their tattoos are not fading away. And what caught my eye about it was just how bad the tattoo was that they used as an example, because it was like, it's supposed to be 2 hands clutching a heart. I think that's an Irish clatter ring. They put that on clatter rings in Ireland, and I know there's a significance to it, but I don't know the background of it. But in any event, the hands don't look like hands at all. They look like wrenches or like robotic hands. It's just a very, very poorly done tattoo. And somebody, be bad enough if you had a bad temporary tattoo, but now it turns out it's not so temporary.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was kind of looking at this, and it says the ink's composed of biodegradable polymers that dissolve naturally, and like all I can think is like, as somebody who's got actual sort of conventional tattoos,
Right.
I'm like, even those, like, especially with fine lines and stuff, like they can fade, and
Sure.
and I'm like, I just can't see how, let's say this fades in, say, 12 months. It's like, I can't believe it's not like it's going to be 11 months and then it just disappears. It's going to like get significantly worse in that 12-month period. You're certainly not going to have a nice tattoo for those whole 12 months.
Yeah. I just thought it was kind of a funny story. I mean, it was one of those, galaxy brain ideas. What if everybody had tattoos that just instantly went away in 12 months? Maybe we can disrupt the tattoo market.
Which is such a strange. I'm not sure that's a market that needs disruption.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's ripe for disruption. But it was.
I don't know if
funny.
If you're thinking of getting a temporary one, just go wild. Just get a permanent one. See what happens. You'll be fine.
There you go. Or just use, if you really want temporary, just go with the ones that you put a little water on. They're like stickers, elaborate stickers. Just go that way. It'll be that will come off in the shower next time you go to you take a shower.
Yeah, or grab a Sharpie, get a friend, just have a little party, and
draw some squiggles on your arm. That'll satisfy the urges. Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And then just get somebody to like punch you in the arm so it actually hurts afterwards, and it's basically the same as a normal tattoo.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh well, I don't know if I've got anything else. I feel like we've been away 4 weeks, and it's been fairly quiet, other than Mr. Man buying Twitter. But I'm not sure if that's really the conversation for now.
No, and even if it is, by the time you edit this, even if it's only an hour from now, everything will have changed. So it'll be out of date
absolutely.
instantly.
Yeah, maybe we'll save that for a couple of weeks when things might have, I don't know, either settled down or Twitter doesn't exist anymore or something.
Exactly.
I don't know. Or everyone's verified. I don't know. I can't remember how it's working.
That sounds good.
Cool. I'll speak to you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Later.